Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. My name is Solorio and I'm your host for this evening. Now before we begin, I just want to mention something about the way I handle stats in my videos. I get my stats from the PTR notes, which means that when these videos come out, some of these stats might not be entirely accurate, but a few weeks after they will, because the PTR is generally reflective of future releases. I'm not even sure I remember a time where something went to the PTR but it wasn't released into the main game a few weeks later. So, D.Va. At the age of 19, she is the youngest Overwatch hero. Now let's check out her abilities. D.Va is a tank, for the most part. When she's in her mech, she has 200 armor and 400 health. But when she's out of her mech, she's got only 150 health. D.Va's primary ability is called Fusion Cannons. Oh wait, Fusion Cannons? What the hell? How's that got anything to do with fusion? Whatever. Fusion Cannons has an unlimited clip size, so you don't have to reload ever. There is a moderate spread to her firing, and so you'll want to be firing as close as you can. Of course, Roadhog and Reaper have more effective spread weapons, so you won't be wanting to get too close to them. She fires 11 projectiles, which do 2 damage per bullet. That's a total of 22 damage for each shot. And she fires about 3 shots a second, so that'll give you about 66 damage per second. Her shots are hit scan, so you don't want to lead your target at all, and you can also go for a Pharah, although you'll want to be getting as close as you can to her. D.Va's secondary ability is called Defense Matrix. It projects a nullification zone up to 15 meters ahead of D.Va, which absorbs any projectiles and also cancels any hit scan attacks. The maximum duration you can get out of it is about 4 seconds, and it's got a 1 second cooldown, so you can't switch it on and off quickly whenever you need it. It takes 10 seconds to recharge the full 4-second charge, which only triggers after the cooldown. The great thing about Defense Matrix is that it can absorb most ults, whether it is by absorbing the actual damage or by absorbing the initiating projectile, for example Mei's robot or Hanzo's arrow when he fires it for his ultimate. But also Reaper's Death Blossom, you can absorb all the damage from that, and Pharah's Rocket Barrage. D.Va's mobility ability is called Boosters. It has a 2-second duration and can send you up to 25 meters away from where you are. It's got a nice short 5-second cooldown, which means you get a lot of distance on it. It also does 25 damage to anyone you bump with it. It's worth noting that you can use Defense Matrix while boosting, so for example if Pharah's using her Rocket Barrage and she's in the air, you can engage your Defense Matrix and boost towards her to absorb all her rockets. It's common for D.Va to launch into the air when triggering her ultimates, to try and get a bit of better range on the enemies, and to avoid small walls and other obstacles like that. Often you don't want to go the full height when you're triggering your ultimate, so you can actually aim straight down when triggering the first half second of boosters, and that way you're actually reducing the maximum height. So you just aim down, then aim straight up, and you'll go up less high. Boosters is also very useful for flanking, and thus getting past choke points. A great example of this is on Eichenwald, where you've got that one big choke at the bridge, and a D.Va can actually go from the left, above the houses, and get to the other side to break their defense. D.Va's ultimate ability is called Self-Destruct. It deals up to 1000 damage to anyone within a 20-meter radius, although the damage does fall off quite quickly at the far edge of that radius. It's worth noting, if you're on the receiving end, that there is a little exclamation mark that pops up when D.Va uses her ultimate, and it's also triggered by several other ultimates. If it's red, that means you're in the unsafe zone. If it's yellow, that means you're a safe distance away. Now even if you don't get any kills with it, which I often don't actually, it's kind of embarrassing, but even if you don't, it's good for scattering the enemy. It'll give you a good chance to set up on the point if you're attacking, or to strengthen your defense if you're defending. In my experience, D.Va's ultimate is frustrating for both sides. As a receiver, you often feel like you can't escape it, which is true in many cases. But as a performer, as the D.Va, it's very hard to get a lot of kills with it. Unlike Reaper's ult, where he just jumps in and he kills everyone, with D.Va it's a lot harder because there's a lot more opportunity to get behind cover. D.Va also has a passive ability, which is her mech. She's the only hero that can die twice in a game. First time, she loses her mech and goes into her personal form, which has 150 health, and she carries a pistol which does 14 damage per shot and 7 shots per second. It's good damage, but don't delay your tank form too much because Diva's primary use is as a tank, and you're really easy to kill in your personal form. Now while you are out of your mech, your main mech ultimate, your self-destruct, still recharges passively over time, but any damage you do is only recharging your ability to get back into your mech, not your main ultimate. So it's a good idea to get into your mech as quickly as you can so you can start charging up your main ultimate. Diva is one of the most enjoyable heroes I've played. Much of that comes from the fact that her boosters provides a lot of mobility and lets you get around really quickly. It's really fun to just run in or run out of combat whenever things get tough. I love using my shield to protect my allies from damage or myself. For example, if a Roadhog pulls an ally, I can just put my shield up and he can't do most of his damage, denying him that one-shot kill. Since Diva's ultimate is very hard to land with any significant kills, it's really satisfying whenever you do manage to get 2 or more kills with that. And also, her survivability is great. Because of her mobility, whenever things get too tough, she can run away and almost nothing can chase her. Now if you're not a Diva player, you're probably thinking that Diva's pretty overpowered based on your experiences, but there are several counters that are very effective against Diva. A good counter for Diva is Zarya, whose particle cannon can't be blocked by her defense matrix and can deal a lot of damage when Zarya is charged up. Another good one is Reaper. His shotguns do a massive amount of damage at close range, but he's not always going to get away with it. Because Diva has a lot of health and does a fair amount of damage close up herself, it's quite possible for a Reaper to actually get killed. So you generally want to go in with more than one person as a Reaper. Sombra is another effective choice because her hack can disable both Diva's escape and her defense matrix. Mei is a good counter because her primary ability can freeze Diva through her defense matrix and it's quite hard to avoid unless you just run away. And she could also outdamage a Diva at range because of her ice shards. Genji is another good counter because of his high damage and the fact that Diva has a very high critical hit area. And then there's his mobility, which means that Diva can't focus him to damage him even at close range because he just keeps jumping all around. His deflect can deflect Diva's attacks, but the impact isn't that high because her damage isn't that significant. Diva is one of the more effective heroes as far as countering and flanking is concerned. She can counter a lot of heroes, and anyone who relies on range will not get away with it because Diva can just boost straight through them and attack them at close range. Diva can counter a Symmetra really well because she can clear the turrets while surviving their damage. She can peek into a room and destroy turrets using her fusion cannons, and then she can still survive it because she won't take too much damage. Thanks to her boost, Diva can also find a teleporter or shield generator quite quickly, and her team will definitely be relying on her to do that. Diva is also very effective at countering snipers, because snipers rely on their range. Diva can just boost straight to them and take them out. Don't forget to pop your shield up when you're approaching the Ana, because the odds are she's going to try and use her sleep dart on you, and you want to avoid that. Diva can also counter all supports. Because of her flanking ability, she can get behind the team and then just take out the supports from behind before the team even realizes she's there. That is all except Lucio. Because of his strong self-heals and his fast movement speed, he's going to be quite hard to target, so I wouldn't bother going for him unless he's on his own. Diva is a very strong counter for Roadhog as well, because she can survive his pull and he's got a very big surface area for her to damage. She can also save an ally from being killed by his pull damage combo just by putting the shield up. She can also shield his ultimate, which would otherwise do massive damage and knock your entire team back. Working with her team, Diva can be a very effective counter for Bastion, because she can shield 4 seconds of Bastion's damage while her team focuses him down. Similarly, Torbjorn's turret can also be countered by the shield, although Diva actually has enough damage to 1v1 the turret and win. It's worth reiterating that Diva's defense matrix can counter almost every ultimate in the game, which is why unless you really need it, you want to save it up as much as you can if you're expecting an ultimate or a big push. Diva's primary balancing factor is the fact that she takes a lot of damage, which is why she benefits from working with an Ana or a Mercy for strong single target heals. I'd recommend a Winston for a secondary tank because Diva is very strong at single target damage and Winston will be effective at AoE, as well as taking out a Genji who could counter the Diva. If you're going for 3 tank composition, you definitely want a D.Va as one of those tanks. She's such an effective counter, and also your ultimate is very effective for pushes as well as for defense. At age 16, Hannah Song, aka D.Va, became the world champion in StarCraft 2. She was a professional gamer and she managed to hold their title as first in the world for a very long time, 3 years in fact. At this time, there was a particular Omnium that was attacking Korea, and the Mecha Corporation was losing control of their mechs, since they were drone controlled. That was when they realized they needed pilots. They were desperate to find pilots, and so they turned to gamers due to their reflexes. Thus, D.Va became a mech pilot and joined Overwatch. Fun fact, D.Va actually streams her combat, her engagements, to her fans online. We also know that at some point D.Va played a role in a movie called Hero of My Storm, which by the way is clearly a reference to Heroes of the Storm.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Please take the time to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I also like to hear your feedback as usual. And I'll see you guys next week where we'll be talking about Genji.